Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck?
Pretty uneventful day, huh?
I just, I was in such a good mood yesterday. And listen, I am not going to, we'll get right into it. Everyone knows Emil, look at the chat. Emil Andrae got sent down. That will be the crux of today's show. I am not going to let this defenseman that we kind of knew this was going to happen to ruin how I'm feeling about the team. But it is just so much of the, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Just let me be happy for 2 goddamn days.
It's a thing where it's like, okay, number one, yes, I get why people are angry.
Yes.
It's justifiable. On the other hand, this is one of those situations where, this is what our show is for.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we are going to spend an hour obsessing over the fate of a third pair defenseman who, and I like Emil Andrae, I do.
Big fan.
Best case scenario, he's like a number 4.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend, and people are apoplectic about this. And this is the great part about our viewership and Flyers fans, is that these are truly the sickos.
Charlie,
These are the diehards. The sickos are the people who are ready to march on the Xfinity Mobile Arena because they sent Emil Andrae down. And this isn't a critique. I love it. I absolutely love it.
20, 30 minutes before we went live, and thank you all so much. We appreciate you so freaking much. 20, 30 minutes before we went live, I looked in the chat. JH and K Red already had 10 messages, 10 messages apiece.
Yep.
It was great. But thank you all for joining. Hit that like button. You might not like what the Flyers do, but you might love what we say about them. So hit the like button. Make that the dislike Andre getting sent down button. Before we get into all the stuff, because there's a bunch of lineup stuff I want to get to that kind of is around and relating to this. But first, have to tell you about the California takeover. That's right, because if you're ready for the ultimate Flyers getaway, you gotta come to Anaheim with PHLY and Philly sports trips, because we're taking all the fans we can out west for this California takeover. And Flyers legend John LeClair is coming with us. From March 17th to the 22nd, we're hitting the West Coast. It's going to be 2 big games. First, the Anaheim Ducks at the Honda Center. Pretty cool giveaway I talked about on Philadelphia today. Maybe we'll get to it. Probably not. And then the LA Kings at Crypto.com. It will always be staples to me. Arena. Your package includes optional round-trip direct flights from Philly, to and from Philly, 5-night stay at the beautiful Sanborn Santa Monica, group tickets to both games, a Flyers watch party for the Sharks game, and an exclusive meet and greet with John LeClair. Plus, the Philly Sports Trips crew will be there to handle every detail so you can just enjoy the sun, the sights, and the hockey. This is the California vacation every Flyers fan dreams of, with a couple of wins to top it off, hopefully, and booing Cutter Gauthier. Spots are limited. Book your trip today at allphly.com/events. Philly Sports Trips rules. Make sure you come. All right. Lineup changes, Chuck. We got a lot of stuff going on. So we talked about the imminent return of Cam York yesterday. It was possible for Thursday. Maybe it's the weekend. Maybe they ease him back in when he does come back.
Now it looks probable.
He's back and he's with Sanheim.
Yeah. Looks like he's playing Thursday.
Yeah, it looks like he's playing Thursday, and I bet you he's playing 22 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if I totally agree with that. I probably would have leaned more towards easing him in. Maybe they will. Maybe the way that they'll distribute the ice time, they'll give Sealer some shifts with Sanheim. I guess we'll see. But easiest explanation here is, they're throwing York in. He didn't miss that much time. He only missed 3 games. Basically did the entirety of camp. I mean, he missed the final day of camp before it officially transitioned into the regular season.
I don't even think I think it was that Sunday. That we were he's hurt.
Yeah, because the final game was Saturday. He played in it. Sunday was an off day. And then Monday, we're interviewing Danny about the forthcoming roster to be announced. And Danny just drops, oh, by the way, York might not be on the roster. He might be on IR because he got banged up. And then he missed 3 games. So hasn't missed that much time. I guess it's not that big of a deal to throw him back into the fire and give him 20 minutes. They certainly need the help. Travis Sanheim will very much appreciate, I'm sure, not playing 30 minutes a night. That would be great. But because Cam York is going back in the lineup, changes had to be made both to the lineup and to the roster because they were maxed out at 23. Someone had to be removed from the roster, and someone was.
Someone was removed. Dennis Gilbert was not waived. Noah Juleson.
Dennis Gilbert's gone.
Oh, he is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was waived in camp. They kept him up.
They kept him up, but yeah.
And then they sent him down.
They did eventually.
A few days ago, eventually.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
They waived him, but kept him.
They had to send him down to call up Andrae in the first place.
That's how it worked.
Because they called Andrae up before.
It was not Juleson. It was not Zamula. It was everybody's favorite Emil Andrae. He only played those 10 minutes in the home opener. I felt like it was okay. So this is just a short stint. But we got word today that he was returned to the AHL. He'll be back with the Phantoms, at least for now. And people are not happy about it because
there's a lot of reasons why they're not happy about it. And they're all justifiable reasons.
It really just feels like, man, just give us the thing. I know, okay, so we're coming up against Winnipeg. The Jets have a very good power play. We want penalty killing. We want size. It really just feels like if Cam York not even was 6'4", if he was 5'11" instead of 5'8", 5'9", whatever he is.
No, Cam York. I think Cam York is York is listed as 6 foot. Andrae is 5'9".
Andrae
is 5'9".
was 5'10", 5'11", just not 5'8", 5'9". He'd be on the roster still. But because Juleson is taller, because Yinning is taller, these guys need to be in the lineup because their arms are longer, I guess.
I think the big thing is everyone watched Monday's game. And I'm including the Flyers in this because we talked to Rick Tocchet after the game. We talked to Rick Tocchet today. And both times when he was asked about Andrae, his response was, oh, yeah, he was real impressive. Real tough spot, did a great job. Today, he reiterated, really liked what I saw from him. And if he isn't in the lineup on Thursday, it's not a reflection of our view of his play. It's just personnel. So the Flyers saw it too. Everybody watched Andrae play on Monday and saw a guy who was effective. And people are comparing that to what they've seen, particularly from Zamula and Juleson. I'm going to keep Yinning out of this for now because I think Yinning's fine. Yinning's been fine. Yeah. He got 20 minutes on Monday, and they beat the defending champs. So clearly, he's not a liability because, trust me, if you have a liability getting 20 minutes a night against the Florida Panthers, you ain't winning crap. So Yinning, he's fine. But people have watched Juleson. They've watched Zamula. And they looked at Andrae on Monday, and it was obvious that guy was more effective than those two guys. And now they're watching the more effective guy get sent down. And it just seems very unfair.
All right, let's play that Tocchet video. I actually want to see what Rick said because it is interesting that he got sent down.
PK, like you're playing the top power play last year at Winnipeg. So, you got to make sure you have good penalty killers out there. But saying that, I thought Andrae did a really nice job. If he doesn't play tomorrow or whatever happens, it's not because of his play. It's more personnel decisions, whether it's a PK thing. But I thought he did a nice job for us.
All right. So
Tocchet clearly saw what everybody saw.
Yeah.
That Andrae was pretty solid on Monday.
Yeah.
Play ball.
He's a good player.
Only 10 minutes, but
they
play ball.
Just want... All right. So this is what I will say I guess I appreciate about sending him down. I guess... They're not going to keep him here to not play. All right, we're not going to play him Thursday, so guess what? We're going to send you back to the AHL so you can continue to get reps, so you can continue to stay in shape, so you can build on whatever momentum you picked up by playing 10 solid minutes against the Florida Panthers. I appreciate that. I also appreciate there are roster gymnastics that you have to go through throughout the course of a season that aren't just, like I've been saying, play the best 6 guys. I don't care if one is 3 feet tall. I don't care if one is 11 feet tall. Can we just play the best 6 freaking guys? Yes, that is wonderful in theory. And they do have some cap room. So it's not like this is, we have to do it for that reason.
It's not a cap situation.
But it is a roster space situation.
And waivers.
And with that comes the waivers.
Right.
He's the only guy who's exempt. Right. I think there's when they finally were like, you know what, screw it. Let's give Yinning a chance because we're going to have to waive him anyway. And he took advantage better than anyone else in the preseason, I guess. And so he's here. And now you have this situation of, yes, Emil Andrae is clearly You know, without York, he is back now, but without York and without Risto, he's one of the 2 or 3 best defensemen on this roster. But he's waiver exempt. This is just kind of one of those things that happens with young players, especially non-premier ones. Like, yeah, Matvei Michkov's waiver exempt. Guess what's never going to happen? Because he's a premier player.
Yeah.
But Emil Andrae, maybe his number needs to look even more like Matvei Michkov.
And I do want to push back on one thing because, like, and this is something that happens on Twitter, and you just did it. It's a rhetorical tactic when you just toss in the middle of something. He might be the 3rd best defenseman on the team. Like, that is your opinion. The Flyers.
Yes, it is my opinion.
My point is that, like, the Flyers, and I'm not even talking about the size thing. Obviously, there's a bias against Andrae because they don't want 3 defensemen on the team that are under 6 foot and under, let's say. They ideally would not want 3 defensemen in the lineup that are that small. But even if they were to remove the size bias from the situation, they don't agree that he's the 3rd best defenseman. Like people will throw that out there and then get more angry because it's like, how can they not see he's the 3rd best defenseman team? Like, well, they don't think so. That is not them lying to you. They sincerely do not believe. Like, I've seen people being like, Andrae might even be better than Drysdale. And like, you're welcome to believe that if you want. Like, you can have that opinion, but know that the Flyers do not share that opinion at all.
I don't know if he's gonna be better than Drysdale. I would say right now they're pretty equal.
Really? You would?
I would say
the Flyers strongly disagree with you on that front.
And
I'm not. Again,
you're welcome
to have that opinion, but like
the Flyers are welcome to have their opinion. Yeah. They've been an irrelevant franchise for a decade. They're no better at this than me until proven otherwise.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You'd be pretty bad at covering a hockey team, I think.
And so have they been. This team was the 4th worst team in hockey last year. What would I be, the 3rd worst?
Yeah, probably.
Barry Trotz had the 3rd worst team in hockey, so he's bad at, like, I don't know.
He's a good coach.
Yeah,
Might be a really bad GM.
Like, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying they're definitely not. Like, there's no way to know that they're right. I think Emil Andrae is one of the more talented guys. I wouldn't say he's a top 4 defenseman on this team, definitely with Risto and York healthy. I would say talent-wise, he's easily one of the top 4 without Risto.
Okay. I would say that I think even if you hooked up a lot of people in the Flyers organization to a lie detector and asked them, do you think right now, in terms of just like general effectiveness, is Emil Andrae playing better than Noah Juleson and Zegras? I think they'd probably be like, yeah. I don't think they would say that about Yinning. I think they would say, no, Yinning's playing better than Andrae, which reasonable people can disagree on that, but they truly do believe that. Yeah. And they certainly believe that Jamie Drysdale is a better defenseman than Emil Andrae, because if they didn't, Jamie Drysdale would be the one getting jerked around and Emil Andrae would be in the top 4 getting developed as the small puck-moving power play defenseman. He's not, because they think Drysdale's better.
And Drysdale's making considerably more money and not waiver exempt.
And they invested more.
Yeah.
They traded away Cutter Gauthier.
They did. There are those roster biases and those roster gymnastics you have to play. And yeah, like Jamie Drysdale just has way more NHL experience. Like, that's the other part. Yeah. Like, of course he's better. He's been in the NHL for more than 3 weeks. Yeah. So I just think if this was only about talent, Emil Andrae is here. But it's about more than those things. And as Rick Tocchet just said, another thing I guess I can appreciate is if we're assigning roles. Now, me personally, I'd be like, well, put Emil Andrae on the penalty kill. Problem solved. But they're not going to do that. I understand. If this is going to be about role and how we're going to use guys, well, it's going to come down to, do we dress Juleson or do we dress Andrae? Hey, they had one of the best power plays in the league last year. All right, Juleson kills penalties. We're going to go with our guy who kills penalties. And the Flyers have been undisciplined through the first 3 games. I think that, like, my other fix was like, oh, let's not take any penalties then. But that has been an ineffective strategy thus far in the season.
It's true.
So if we're going to be on the PK and they have a good power play, I suppose it makes sense to go with the dude who kills penalties. I can buy that, even if I'm like, is he good at it though? What if Andrae did it? Because he's fast and can probably clear the puck real easy. It's not the 90s anymore where you need Darian Hatcher cross-checking dudes in the head in front of the net. That doesn't exist. But I realize who's running this organization, and it is not just a Flyers thing. This is a league-wide thing. Yeah. This is what you do. A guy like Juleson's going to be on your PK. So that does make sense.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from with the PK thing, but I do want to point out that it's not as convincing as it may seem at first glance, because Jamie Drysdale obviously isn't playing on the PK. You know he's out of that. But ahead of Noah Juleson on the PK, you would presumably have Travis Sanheim,
Yes.
Nick Seeler,
Yes.
Cam York, who
Yes.
plays PK,
Yeah.
and Adam Yinning. Presumably,
I keep forgetting Yinning. Yeah.
So Juleson is in. If you're gonna say he's in because he plays PK, in theory, he's in case one of the other 4 defensemen is the guy who's in the box. So it's less of an essential and it's more of a want to have.
I also do wonder, obviously, Cam York has really come a long way as a defensive defenseman. He would be in your regular PK rotation. We've talked about we said at the top of the show, you would ease him in. Maybe he's not number 1 PK guy first game back. Maybe. I'm just trying to come up with reasons here. If that's one of them, all right, we want York on the penalty kill for most of the season, but maybe he's not first one over the boards on the PK first game back, and we're going to ease him back into that role. Not quite as hard minutes, even if the volume of minutes is high. Maybe it's not against that top power
That's
play.
possible. I think
I'm just trying to come up with
in
something.
the end, why more than anything else, I believe this infuriates fans. And on a deep level, it angers me too. It just seems unfair. It seemed more than anything else, it seems unfair because fans watched a guy on Monday who they were told, hey, he didn't have that good of a camp. And everybody's like, I don't know. We watched him. He looked pretty good. Certainly looked better than most of the guys you're trying to sell me as in the competition still. Then you got to watch him in a game and he still looked good. Probably, I would say, even better than he looked in preseason in a regular season game. And now the Flyers are like, yeah, it doesn't matter. He's still going down. It feels like an injustice. It does.
I think what bothers me is that we're going to use this size thing, and it's going to be a constant talking point until they have 6 defensemen who are all 6'4". This will just be a thing for the Flyers organization. You had no problem playing him against the Florida Panthers, and yeah, sure, okay, you only played him the 10-20 or whatever it was, but you also had the big physical mean guy in Juleson out there. And you only played him the 10 minutes as well. You're recognizing,
they know he's not playing.
You're recognizing this is an ineffective player.
Yeah,
that's
they know
okay.
that.
You are very much third pair.
He is what he is.
Yeah, but we have to have him as part of this. It's just the whole thing is very convoluted because they're telling you one thing and you see it, but then they do another and they're like, yeah, and here's why, and it sort of makes sense, but none of it really holds up.
There's an element here where they're doing kind of the Charlie Day corkboard thing where they're like, well, Andre's better, but we need Jules for the penalty kill and waiver exemption. And Zamul has played X games, so he's actually not as bad as he's looked. When the fans just look at it and are like, who's playing better? Andre is. Okay, play him.
It feels, I think especially, and listen, we've made jokes about this forever. How long have we yelled, oh my God, they're playing Chris Van de Velde again? It's he played 8 minutes. Who cares? Morgan Frost was in the title of the show every other day for 2 years. We said, this is what we do. We are absolutely for the sickos.
We are for the sickos, yeah.
But it's just, man, can't you just make the right decision? But it's just not going to go that way. It's not going to go that way for now. I expect Emil Andrae back maybe sooner than later. I think it is just frustrating for fans, though.
It's very frustrating for fans.
Can't you, we all see it. Don't we all see it?
We all see it.
The guy can play.
I will say that I think the Flyers I think there is a bias against Andre. There was a bias against Andre going into this camp on the part of the front office because he doesn't fit the mold of the defenseman they wanted to win the job to replace Ristolainen in the short term. I do believe that's true. But I also believe they sincerely thought, now it could have been colored by their bias, but they sincerely thought coming out of camp that Andre didn't play that well in camp. Now, I disagreed with that. I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was incredible, but I thought he was fine. I thought he was better than it seems like they thought he was. I believe that they're not lying to us by saying well, he wasn't that good in camp. No, you're just telling us he wasn't that good. No, they honestly believe he didn't have that great of a camp. I do think that Monday's game helped Andrae in their estimation because now their memory of him is not the guy who didn't impress them in camp. Now their memory of him is the guy who played well in a tough situation. And on some level, we know we're kind of doing him dirty by sending him down anyway.
What is it? Like my thing was like when he ultimately doesn't make the team, he got sent down that day. Maybe they're only willing to make these exceptions for smaller defensemen if they see the offensive upside of what they believe Jamie Drysdale's is. And if it is literally, yeah, man, Emil is going to be a nice third pair guy. Maybe he runs your second power play and he's okay, but he's not going to get you 55, 60 points. So we're not making the exception. Is it like we need you to be an elite offensive defenseman or you're just going to bounce back and forth until you're no longer waiver exempt? Like, what is it do you think they're looking for when they tell you he didn't have that good of a camp? Like, what's holding him back in their mind?
Well,
consistency?
No, I mean, look, if you're asking me the question, like what's holding him back is that he's 5'9" and they already have two small defensemen. Yes. They don't want another one in the line. In their ideal world, the entire defense would be 6'2". You can tell by all the guys they're drafting under Briere and Keith Jones. Everybody on defense is big. That's what they want. York was a holdover, and they know he's good, so they signed him. Plus, he doesn't play small, so it's like, sure, we can deal with that. He's 6 foot. He's not that small. Drysdale is an exception because they do think he has high-end upside. Now, whether they can eventually get that out of him, I guess we'll see, but they believe that they can turn him into a high-end, puck-moving, power play quarterback, point-producing defenseman. They believe that. They probably see Andre's plausible ceiling as lower than that of Drysdale. Yeah. So they're going to prioritize the development of Drysdale over the development of Andrae. And they have a belief that there's only so many small defensemen they can have in the NHL lineup at one time before they just start feeling uncomfortable about their defense at the NHL level.
It's just very funny to me that, like, you beat the champs, let's make changes. But Cam York
had to bring York back.
York coming back, I know. It's like...
he had a good camp.
Listen, no problem at all with bringing Cam York back in. It's just this height thing is going to be the reason they ice less than ideal lineups from a purely just ability level. Like, this is going to be the thing, it seems.
The guy
it felt like they didn't have this extreme bias a year ago, and now with Tocchet, it's like, oh no, we have another guy who agrees with us. And now it's 3 for 3. Like, it's so weird. Like, that's kind of what it feels like right now. Like, yeah, we're fine. We don't love it, but we're going to figure it out. And now it's like, if we have to do it, we might forfeit the game instead. Like, that just, we'll see how it all goes.
It's the same thing with having Nick Deslauriers on the team.
Yeah.
Having Nick Deslauriers on the team makes them feel better about the team they have because it makes them feel better to have a tough badass not even in their lineup, just on their roster.
Here, hanging out.
Yeah. And it makes them feel worse to have a bunch of small dudes on the back end. So it's their team. They would prefer not to have it, so they're not going to have it. The guy I feel bad for in this whole thing is Andrae.
Yes.
Because this is a guy who, like, he would never do it, obviously, but it would be so funny if just one day he just, like, walked into the facility wearing stilts.
Stilts.
It would be very funny.
Elevator, Austin Powers boots that are like 8 feet high.
Yeah.
Like, if
hilarious.
He comes in, like, takes a ladder on the ice. Like, it's simply that's just what it's going to come down to.
He's doing what he can. Yeah. Could he be doing more? Sure, because you could always be doing more. You could score 100 points. Like, everyone could do more, but he's doing enough. And it's clear that he's just behind the proverbial 8 ball in this organization because of his height.
That was my question, and it was mostly rhetorical because we know it's height. It's like, what can he do? Yeah, be better, but, like, from a reasonable expectation standpoint, from what we both believe this guy is, he's doing it, and it's still, like, not enough because you're not tall enough. And ultimately, that's what it is.
Yeah.
If Cam York gets hurt again, Jamie Drysdale gets hurt again,
he's back.
Yeah,
he's back.
If not, maybe not.
Yeah.
All right. We have a lot more stuff to talk about. Changes to the power play. What position is Trevor Zegras actually playing? All sorts of good stuff. But first, let's take that break. I know everybody remembers when BG strip sacked the GOAT for the first Philly Super Bowl ever, and now BG is bringing us his Crooked T strip sack pack so we can savor that flavor again. What is the strip sack pack? Well, it's big, it's heavy, and it's juicy. It's the kind of pack you want to show off. You already know Crooked T. It's 0 sugar and all flavor. And with the strip sack pack, it's stuffed with 24 cans plus some collectible trading cards from our friend Jordan Spector. So every pack is packing heat. From the fridge to the tailgate, this is the one sack you're going to be proud to display. So grab yours today at a store near you, or get them on GoPuff. And for our guy BG, we have to send a shout out to the Philly area bars carrying Crooked T. Thank you for showing the love. Sports and Social Allentown, Garage Fishtown, City Tap in Logan Square, Wicked Wolf on Chestnut. Go check them out for the game day or a night out and tell them that PHLY Sports sent you. And while we're here, let's talk about Bet365, baby, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. From their 90 million users worldwide to their almost 800,000 live stream events each year. And, of course, the early payout offers for the NHL. Your team goes up 3 goals. You don't have to sweat the rest of the game. If you have them on the money line or as part of a parlay, you're already a winner. You won, boom. Now you can come back and maybe play it the other way, maybe double down, whatever you want to do. It's never ordinary at Bet365. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, whether your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got a gambling problem. Matvey Michkov refuses to score an anytime goal. It's my
That's
gambling
your gambling problem.
It's not me. It's him. He's the one with the problem. All right. Anyway, so with Cam York back in, like the impact, obviously, it hits Andrae the most. And it's like, I have trouble feeling bad for pro athletes. But like in this context, yeah, I am like, this sucks for you, man, because you're doing what you're supposed to. It's just, that's it.
And Tocchet straight up said,
Yeah,
he said today.
This isn't play
we
related.
saw the clip.
Yeah,
He's like,
we played it.
He played real well. This isn't a reflection of his play. And that's real consolation to Andrae, who has to go back to Allentown. He's like, cool, then why am I not still
But
here?
like, imagine it's like, no, Charlie, actually, your writing is great. I don't like you personally. And I realize it's different, but like,
I don't know. A lot of people in the media industry get that very conversation. Truly, you're really good at your job, but you're laid off.
you're like, yeah, that's fair.
So we are very used to
fair
that
point.
in the media industry.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Other lineup changes based on the Cam York thing. Third pair, I gotta believe it's Yinning Juleson.
It does appear to be Yinning Juleson.
All right.
The 2 pairs they ran
Lefty,
today,
righty.
it was Yinning Juleson and it was Zamula Andrae, I believe. Well, obviously Andre's gone. So therefore, yeah, Andrae Zamula. So you would assume it's Yinning Juleson. And it makes sense. Yinning got 20 minutes last night. You're not going to scratch a guy you just gave 20 minutes against the defending champs from the past 2 years. Yeah, well, Torts might do it. That's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, so it looks like that'll be that third pair on Thursday. It sounded like they were doing some special teams work, at least power play today. Was there any look at the was Cam York on either power plays?
Cam York was not on the power play, which isn't that big of a shock. Now, York was on the power play in the final game of the preseason. It looked like he had, quote unquote, won that job between him and Sanheim. But him and Sanheim have been rotating on power play 2 pretty much the entirety of preseason. Sanheim has been the guy on power play 2 since the start of the regular season. Obviously, York has been out. But it makes sense not to throw Cam York right back in there, especially when you're trying to maybe ease him in a little bit, even if you're not necessarily going to ease him in at 5-on-5. At least you don't have to give him power play time. So York was not on the power play. Sanheim was, but there was one shift on the power play.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to next. Trevor Zegras, no longer on power play 1. It will be Sean Couturier. And this is something I wanted them both out there when we did like our lines and what we think the team should be. Like maybe it was a mailbag or bonus content or something, but I always thought Couturier should be on power play 1 because, like, you know what's real important? that face-off.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of what he brings. Also, a big body, knows how to get to the net. And hell, he just had 4 points. Let's ride the hot guy here. Pause.
Beautiful.
You know, I did that for Kelly. So Coots is up. Coots is up on power play 1. Trevor Zegras down with the Forster Cates brink line.
It's really not bad. Not a bad place to be.
Honestly, start him. If it wasn't for Matvei Michkov, it would be like, yo, that's our best line. Why wouldn't we make that our power play? But listen, if you have Michkov in the half-court offense, I think that should probably start. But what do you make of the this little move we had here after Zegras played what we thought was a pretty good game, made the play of the year thus far?
Yeah.
But there are the numbers. While the power play is visually better, I was trying to actually look up what that was from, because we've said it so many times I don't remember what the reference is.
It was the penalty kill the year. Remember the year where Ron Hextall got fired? The penalty kill started out that season terribly, because they chose to retain Ian LaPerriere as penalty kill coach.
Yes.
And about a month into the season, the penalty kill, after being like the worst in the league the year before, was even worse. And we asked Hextall, like, well, what's wrong with the penalty kill? And he's like, well, it's visually better. It's like, yeah, but it's actually terrible.
And that's like,
and then within a month, Ron Hextall was fired.
We've been doing this so long.
Yeah, that's where visually better.
While visually, the power play has been better. I think we've seen some more creative break-in, breakouts, a little more puck movement, just different stuff. It's not just one thing stagnant the way it's been. They are, however, 1 for 10. And they've allowed a shorthanded goal, so
they're actually even.
They're even. They're even on the power play on 10 opportunities.
Not
that's not a great start. I think they can get it going, get on a little hot streak, be middle of the road-ish. But as of now, they are 1 for 10. So it doesn't shock me that there were changes made. But what do you make of this one? Because it's like, I don't know, isn't Zegras kind of here to bolster the power play?
Yeah. I don't know if there is a power play 1 and power play 2
That's
right
fair.
now yet. Maybe there will be, and I do agree that generally speaking, the power play with Matvei Michkov on it should be viewed as power play 1 because he's the most skilled player on the team. But he hasn't been playing that great to start the year. So right now, there maybe isn't a clear power play 1. It's more power play 1A and power play 1B. Tocchet explained the reasoning for the shift today, and it seems like it comes down to 2 things. Number 1 was one you mentioned earlier, faceoffs. Look, with Zegras as the main faceoff taker, and he actually hadn't been bad on power play faceoffs.
4 for 8.
Yeah, not
50%.
terrible. Okay, but you ideally would want a good faceoff guy, and Zegras is not a proven to be even average faceoff guy at the NHL level. Sean Couturier, I think he's averaging like 60% so far this year. That could give them a few extra opportunities where they don't get the quick clear on that first faceoff. That's number 1. Number 2, and you also alluded to it, the shorthanded goals. They did give up the shorthanded goal on Monday, and that hasn't been the only shorthanded rush that they've allowed so far this year. Sean Couturier, if he provides anything on the power play, it's more responsibility, less risk taking, especially compared to Trevor Zegras. So just seems like it comes down to faceoffs and trying to avoid these shorthanded rushes.
And I will say, while it was years ago and it was a Claude Giroux run power play, he has had success in the past. 7 goals in the power play in 17-18, 8 goals in the power play in 18-19, 4 in 19-20. Like, he's scored some on the power play. He did okay in that bumper spot, the Hartnell Shen. He was like the next one to take over that role. He did fine there in his big scoring years. So it's not like he can't play on the power play. And again, 4 points the other day. If we're going to get a little more into Coots later in the show, like, I don't know, if the guy is like feeling like he can put his socks on, not in pain for the first time, like you wrote in your article, maybe he is closer to that guy than we were willing to accept he may be, in the preseason, when it's like, I don't know, hopefully he can be some semblance of that dude. What if he just is? In that case, he kind of belongs on power play 1.
Yeah, it could. And this wasn't something that Tocchet referenced, but you're right. We are talking about a guy who 2 days ago finished with 2 goals and 2 assists. Maybe this is like hey, good job, buddy. You're on power play 1 now.
They haven't scored a ton. He's got 4 points.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. He's over a point a game, 3 games into the season.
That was all in one game. But hey, the average is the average.
The average, listen, I didn't make up math. I didn't invent it. I'm just telling you what it is. Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like you probably made up your own version of math.
Yeah, it was
that whole like it either happens or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Everything's 50-50.
Everything's 50-50.
That's Bill math.
That's
we
me
got
and-
girl math, we got Bill math.
Me and Ramadajan made that up ourselves. It's a Good Will Hunting reference.
Beautiful.
I did want to get to this just because we're talking power play, and of course, I'm the one post game I'm probably going to miss this year. Owen Tippett scores in the power play.
No, that was very funny. I made a point on Twitter, like, and Bill didn't even get to see it.
So Owen Tippett's power play goal against Carolina was his first on the power play since March 14th, 2024. He went 93 games between power play goals. And I will give him this as well because I wanted to talk about Tippett yesterday and we didn't get to it. 12 shot attempts in the last 2 games.
All right, yeah, he's shooting.
He's doing what I want him to do.
6 on that.
So we will
50% accuracy rate really ain't bad relative to the rest of the forwards in the NHL.
Yeah, so I am open-minded to what this power play can be even without Trevor Zegras because it's 1 for 10. And the one is the guy who scored 0 power play goals last year. It was just a nice setup and lucky rebound.
Yeah.
But hey, man,
it's a great
you
play
gotta,
by Zegras.
Yeah, you got to put those home too. Get the easy ones and
Sure.
your numbers will jump. So I am looking forward to seeing what this power play can be. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what the 2 groups can be because add a little dynamism to the Forster Cates Brink group. That could be something good. Like
it's fair.
they are playing extremely well.
Yeah.
I know we don't expect them to be like an actual line 1 in the NHL, but at this moment they are playing like it.
Yeah.
And give them the playmaking of Trevor Zegras. Maybe that becomes power play 1.
Yeah, it could. Look, at this point, it's a little bit of a bummer because they're not giving us Zegras and Michkov together
Yeah,
5-on-5.
that's the
but you
annoying
can at
part.
least say, well, they're giving it to us on the power play, and now they're not even giving it to us there. But no one on the power play so far has done well enough to like for us to say that they need to be locked into any one thing.
No.
I'm cool to try some new things. And it's not like they mix it up wholesale. They change one guy.
They changed one
Hopefully it
guy,
works.
and it's the guy who's been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
I will say, though, thinking of like Zegras with that group, it's not Sanheim, it's not York. Let's go 5 forwards, make it Michkov too. Zegras, Michkov, and those 3. That's a hell of a power play. Your 3 best forecheckers and your 2 best playmakers.
William.
And a trigger man and Forster. Get it done.
I love the fact that you are going all in now on a 5-forward power play.
What's it going to get worse? They're 10%.
They're trying to actually fix it. We're not yet with this group.
So am I.
We're not yet with this group, as in this coaching staff.
That's fair.
At the throw S at the wall and hope it sticks
know-
face. We might get there, but we're not there yet.
You know what? We do have to give them more than 3 games before we judge the power play.
Possible.
I will grant them more than 3 games before we judge the power play. All right. Some other Zegras stuff that went on today, not just power play, but the just discussion of his position and what the ultimate goal is with Trevor Zegras, because he's playing some with Dvorak, he's a wing, he's a center. It's kind of a hybrid position, which we kind of talked about all offseason when they got Dvorak. Like, that just kind of makes sense, no?
Yeah.
Like, he does both. This guy wants to play center but can't win faceoffs, maybe not the best defensively. What if they did this little trade-off thing? I think we saw it with Danny Briere and Braden Shen when one was ascending and one was declining. They kind of did something similar. Sure. We saw Giroux and Couturier kind of, I think Coots was mostly playing center, but they alternated faceoff spots. It's not out of the realm. Like, it's not weird. This happens all the time, but it does feel like they're already, we want him at center, but we're going to do some things.
Yeah. We asked Tocchet today after practice, and he confirmed that Zegras is moving more to like a hybrid center wing role. It seems like Dvorak is nominally the center, whereas in games 1 and 2, Zegras was nominally the center. Now it looks like Dvorak is taking that role. And it rubs me a little bit the wrong way, because my view would be, I don't know, just let Zegras sink or swim. I'm cool. I'm cool if you put Dvorak on that line and have him take the faceoffs, at least in the defensive zone, which they pretty much were doing from the jump. Zegras has not taken many defensive zone draws, which, again, fair. Fine. Coach is trying to win games. As long as he's getting faceoffs in other parts of the ice, he's practicing faceoffs. Sure, I get you're trying to win. You don't necessarily want the 40% guy taking every defensive zone draw. But I'm not sure how I feel about this hybrid thing because, look, Zegras is going to get some shifts where he's playing the low man because that's just hockey. It's a free-flowing game. If you're the first guy back in the defense, the first forward back in the defensive zone, you're functionally going to sometimes play the low guy to be that center in the D zone. But it's not going to happen nearly as often if you are the actual center on the line. And now Dvorak, if we had to put names to it, is the center on the line. I just worry about the idea of, like, how is Zegras going to get better at playing center if he's not playing center all the time? I worry a bit about that.
All right, I want to, let's play that Tocchet video to see what he had to say about it today. Oh, it's the quote. Yeah, yep. Tocchet quote graphic. That is what that says, not video. I can read. He likes making plays, but when he defers to an attacking style, that's when he's at his best. We're trying to get him to drive play more. I think his game's coming.
Yeah.
I like the idea. Like, I think his game's coming is, I don't know if it's a backhanded compliment. Like, yeah, you made the one play, but was that your game? No, it was, you made a nice play because you're a good player.
Yeah,
but
it was really nice
the idea, it was an awesome play. But it does seem like it's annoying to me because I said, stick him at center and see how it goes a whole year. Just do it. Just freaking stick him there and make him do it. He wants to play center. Say, okay, prove you can. And it's already, yeah, again, sure. Have him out there with Dvorak. Give him some help on faceoffs. But we kind of need him to be this guy, don't we? We need him to be a center.
I mean, they don't need him to be a center, but it would solve a big problem. If he can score a lot and stick down the middle, suddenly you have a top 6 scoring center, which they really don't have. They don't have that archetype clearly in the organization. They're obviously hoping Luchenko can be a top 6 center. They're hoping Jack Nesbitt can be a top 6 center. They have guys who they have hopes for, but they don't have that dynamic scoring guy who you can, because I mean, even Nesbitt and Luchenko, I'd say they probably both grade more out as like two-way guys. Yeah, they're going to score points if they hit their ceilings, but I don't think you're going to be looking at them and thinking like, yeah, they could pop 90. Whereas Zegras has that plausible upside, and if he sticks down the middle, suddenly maybe you don't need to, empty the farm to trade for the first high-end center that becomes available. You can instead empty the farm to trade that for the first high-end defenseman that becomes available.
I love that idea.
So, yes, if Zegras sticks down the middle, it's a big help to the team. But I made this point. Look, if he's an 80-point player on the wing, it's not like I'm going to dump him.
No.
Like that's real good too.
Yeah, it's really good. It's just like there's only, really 3 lines and 6 wingers, and we have a lot of them already. We very badly need centers.
True.
Now, listen, the price you paid for him, awesome. Like, you have a good player either way. It's just like, that would really solve an issue.
It would. It would solve an issue, and that's why I'd like to see them give Zegras more reps at the position. They're kind of, with this, I don't totally hate it because it's not like he's not going to be getting some time at center.
Yeah.
But there's an element here where they're trying to like have their cake and eat it too. Like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be like, well, Tocchet wants to win and we want to develop Zegras. So let's try to do both. It's like the little girl gif where why not both? And it's like, yay, except in this case, no one's going yay. We're all like, this isn't all that great. But that's what they're trying to do. Tocchet doesn't, understandably, he's a head coach. He wants to win. He doesn't love the idea of having a defensively suspect 40% face-off winning dude as one of his top 6 centers. That probably doesn't make him feel that good. And I get that, but it's probably better for the Flyers long-term if he bites the bullet and lets Trevor Zegras have 80 games as a center. They're kind of trying to do both at the same time. I hope it works.
Me too. All right. I want to come back. I want to talk a little Luchenko. We want to talk Dan Vladar. But first, we have to take our second break. When joint pain or injury disrupts your routine, getting the right care shouldn't be a hassle. That's where Rothman Orthopedics comes in. Rothman Orthopedics makes it easy with convenient office locations throughout the region, plus walk-in and urgent care centers when you need help fast. Whether it's a new injury or something that's been bothering you for a while, Expert orthopedic care is just around the corner. Schedule your appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, our mission. Okay, and now, oh, you know what time it is. It's time for Mando, baby. Fall's here. There's crisp air, football, hockey, maybe a bonfire or two. It's all happening. But if you're like most guys, you're still putting in that hard work, and that means sweat. Don't let your body odor sideline you. You know that feeling. It's game day. You've been working hard all week. Your lucky jersey might be smelling a little too lucky. You gotta get Mando. Regular deodorant just doesn't cut it. That's why you gotta do Mando. And Mando deodorant plus sweat control is a real game changer. It's not just another cover up. Mando is one stick, two jobs, powerful odor and sweat control. And it actually stops odor before it even starts. No more masking, just freshness. It's got clinical strength, sweat control, one swipe, and you're good to go. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. And after just 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works. And Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, plus always free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code PHLY at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. SHOPMANDO. And please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Keep those grundles fresh. Mando.
Beautiful.
All right.
And just coming after that, okay, we're at 187 likes. Let's get to 200.
Yeah.
We got to a really good start. We were around 130 within about like 15 minutes, and then it stalled out. That means that there are people here hitting that like button, but we need more.
We need more.
Shoots for 250 by the end of the show.
All right, I want to jump to the Shady Rays future is bright portion of today's program, because Charlie wrote an excellent article, a nice feature. I love when you dive into stuff like this, on Dan Vladar, his off-season meeting with the goalie coach and everything that goes along with this new opportunity. And listen, the future is bright segment isn't always about a 28-year-old, but it does kind of feel like, just reading that article, and I realize it's 2 games. Every goalie in the league has played 2 good games before, whether they're actually good or bad. But like, it does kind of feel like he's getting this fresh start here. He's getting this opportunity. He chose the place because he saw opportunity, and because our old buddy Jake Voracek told him it's cool here. That's always nice. Like, it just kind of feels like maybe, I mean, yeah, a 940 or whatever save percentage, probably not where he's going to finish out. But maybe this isn't an aberration. Maybe he's a little better than the numbers we've seen to this point.
Yeah, and I think last year, that was the year I really focused in on.
Yeah.
I had heard over the summer from people that I talked to that he was used, that Vladar was used as something of like a heat shield for Dustin Wolf. But when I really dove into the stats, it became abundantly clear, like, to what degree they used him as a protector, a guy who would make Dustin Wolf's life as easy as possible. Because I looked at him like, how much could they have done? Wolf played, nearly 60 games, like, or I think, what exactly did he have? I don't have the number right in front of me, but he, hold on. I'm going to look. Wolf played with 53. He had 53 starts. Vladar had 29. So I was like, how much could they really have done sheltering? They did a lot. And one of the big things that, and I highlighted this in the piece, the Calgary Flames are in the Pacific Division. There actually were 3 because you count Seattle, but there were 2 teams going into last year who everybody knew were going to be bad in that division. Some of the worst teams in the league, Anaheim and San Jose. They're both rebuilding. They're both full of kids. Neither of those teams were going to be very good. They played that team 8 times. Dustin Wolf got all 8 starts. Dan Vladar was getting none of the games where, like,
Pad stats games.
He's not getting any pad stat games. He played 4 games against truly bad teams that were sub 500 points percentage. Flyers are one of those teams.
I was going to say, were we one?
And fewer than 3 goals per game, because the Sabres were sub 500, but they actually scored a lot.
They scored a ton.
They just couldn't stop. So it's like, that's not an easy game for a goalie. You might get the win, but it's not an easy game for a goalie because they actually have a pretty good offense. Vladar played 4 times against teams like that, and in 2 of those starts, he was playing the 3rd game of a 3 and 4. So I don't care who you're playing, that's a tough game because the team's exhausted, and you're playing in front of skaters who are just like falling over.
Yeah.
So he was never getting easy games. Wolf was getting all the easy games. Wolf was getting almost all the home games. Like Vladar, I think played, it was 69, nice percent of his games were road games. He was basically the road warrior.
He was the road goalie.
It was wild the degree to which they piled it on Vladar. And the thing too, and this I made this point in the piece. This speaks to how much of a team guy Vladar is. Because number 1, he didn't complain. Number 2, this is a contract year for him.
Yeah.
Like he was a pending free agent and he had every right to say, this is BS. You are deflating how much money I'm going to make on my next deal because you want me to protect this rookie for you. It is unfair. It's unfair what he had to deal with. And he just did it with a smile on his face. And I think Dillabaugh, because Dillabaugh was the big guy who pushed for them to sign Vladar. He said he's good friends with the goalie coach in Calgary. He's good friends with the head coach in Calgary. He talked to them. He knew what was going on. And I think he looked at it like, this guy is a good dude. Like he's willing to be team first. And while his numbers, 898 save percentage, around average goals saved above expected, looked mid from last year, accounting for how difficult of a workload he had, honestly, they weren't bad.
And Calgary was an overachieving team, but like not very good. I think they actually ended up having more points than 2 Eastern Conference playoff teams, but like that was shocking. And a lot of it was because Dustin Wolf was really good, but Dan Vladar held his own, and now he's got an actual opportunity. And I hadn't even really thought about the contract year part. Like, you know how many teams in the league needed a goalie last year? He could have been like, trade me right effing now. Like, and Calgary would have had to be like, I mean, we'll get something because everyone needs a goalie. Like the Battle of Alberta, the other team here needs a freaking goalie bad.
Yeah,
they're starting Cal Pickard in the Stanley Cup final.
Sure.
So that is an interesting piece of it. But I just felt like I wanted to spotlight him in The Future is Bright today because I think there might even be more. I think we could have maybe found something that could be a steadying force for us in net, if nothing else. And who knows? Maybe they get lucky and Kim Dillabaugh, he's regarded as the guy who found him, and we're no longer trashing him. He's actually, that's our Stoutland now. All right, that is the Future is Bright segment. Before we go to our next topic, how many Super Chats do we have? 8. Okay, so we're going to do Super Chats.
Okay.
It looks like, I just referenced this article, this great piece Charlie wrote is up on allphly.com. It looks like our discount is still running. The deals.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's realized it or if we were told it was going to be over this weekend, but I just clicked it and it's still going. So get in at the discounted price before anyone notices. Allphly.com. Sign up to be a diehard. Hey, I'm a man of the people. I'm here for them, Charlie.
Yep.
I
want as many diehard members as possible. I want people to read my article. I'm really happy with how this article turned out.
It was really good.
It was one of those pieces where, and just like to give a little like behind the curtain, like I had basically all of the background research done for it on the road trip. It was busy, and also I just couldn't figure out quite how to crack it. And then last night I finally just like basically tied myself to my desktop, and I'm like, I am not getting up until I actually write this friggin' thing and I figure out the right way to position it. And around like 9 p.m. last night, it finally hit me the way I was gonna structure. I'm like, yes, nailed it.
I love all that. My favorite part though is revealing that Charlie does still use a desktop computer.
Oh yeah,
yeah, 100%.
No, I have my laptop, obviously, but if I'm gonna do some serious work, I want the double screens.
That's outstanding. One thing I did want to get to before Super Chats.
Have your Excel sheet next to your writing.
The one thing I did want to get to before we get to Super Chats is the Zeev discourse has begun again because he's been good.
I did see that. Well, he's scoring points.
Yeah, he's scoring points.
My understanding is that he's been great on the power play, but like the entire Minnesota Wild team, he's been bad at 5-on-5.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the Dallas-Minnesota game last night, and they're like, yeah, here comes the 46% power play. It's like,
that's cool.
So it must be going well.
Quite well, in fact.
But yeah, so it made me laugh because Zeev's there and it's beginning, Charlie. But of course, at 6'183", he'd probably be in the AHL for us. So like at least Jet Luchenko's in the NHL. All right, let's hit those super chats. We have a few of them here. Let's start it off with our old pal JH. So the tank is on.
I would assume this is
about Andrae going down.
Tongue in cheek, I would assume. Because look, I get why people are angry about Emil Andrae. A guy who played 10 minutes on Monday is not going to make or break the Flyers.
10 effective minutes,
They were good
Charlie.
minutes. But it's also not going to make or break the Flyers.
I do think we have to sometimes like separate. Yeah, I like Emil Andrae. I don't think their handling of Emil Andrae is going to be the difference in between the dynasty Briere builds and not.
I would agree with that.
That's all.
I would agree with that.
All right. From David Shub. I guess he should have been a wing D was an odd call. Is this maybe we can start this.
The Shea
forward,
discourse,
but can he play center? Can Emil
He's
Andrae?
too small to play center. You have to be huge to be center too.
Maybe he can play goal.
The only position where you're allowed to be small is wing. And even then, it's like, do we have to?
Yeah, we had to teach Bobby Brink how to check. Otherwise, he's screwed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right. The next one here from Robert Walnut. Okay, I see. Chuck and Bill, you are the goats. Chuck, how do I send you a milkshake up to the press box?
Yeah, this is Tony Escargot on Twitter. He's been hitting me up,
he's
asking
great.
me about a milkshake. I'm not a big milkshake
You're not
fan.
a milkshake guy?
Not really.
Oh, man.
Not really. I don't like milk, so I just don't like the whole texture.
Yeah, I don't want milk, but like it's ice cream.
Yeah, but I'm not a huge ice cream person either. Like I'll eat it,
This is
but it's not
distressing.
my favorite.
Distressing.
Get me like chocolate. That's better.
Just send him a plain Hershey bar.
Send me
Plain Hershey bar. Throw it up to the 300 level.
Exactly.
All right. Love Tony Escargot. That was where okay, so that is him. All right. From David Shub again. All jokes aside, we have the space and the assets to make a good trade for a number 2 or 3 guy. What would your mock trade look like for a quality D-man?
I would not trade for a number 2 or 3 guy. I wouldn't. And I think that is, look, would the defense be better if they had another quality top 4 defenseman? Sure. But it's not going to solve anything long term. If I'm making a trade for a defenseman, I'm making a trade for a number 1 defenseman. I know they don't come around that often. But to me, I think the Flyers, both on the NHL roster and in their pipeline, have enough 2-3 defensemen. I don't think getting another one is going to move the needle. I'm saving my assets for when the number 1 defenseman becomes available.
It's never going to be Owen Power and probably not Rasmus Dahlin because, you do it for them. Do you have interest in Byram? I feel like you're not a Byram.
I'm not a huge... Look, my issue with Byram is his underlying metrics over the last few years, not very good. You're basically betting on being able to fix him because he showed serious potential. He was a number 4 pick. He showed serious potential in Colorado. And my thing is, don't you have enough of those guys?
I was going to say, garage is full, man. You got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We have enough projects.
I get it. I get the idea. But everything I've read too is that Buffalo wants you to pay up as if he's already a top pair defenseman. And by the numbers, he's not.
Buffalo, you're lucky we let you stay in the league. Just give him to us. You can have Owen Tippett. That's literally as far as I'm willing to go. People who've been like Tippett and Andrae, no, Buffalo, you don't get to win a trade. You're terrible. Be terrible. All right. Maybe I'll throw in like a 4th, but that's it. All right. Another one here from David. With steady goalie / Walker, we were close to yacht.
No, and this is what David's getting at with that initial question, which is his focus is how do we make the playoffs? And that's fair. I think that is completely fair for a fan to be like, I want my team to make the playoffs. That's where I'm at right now. Make a trade, get us there. My focus personally is more on how do we get this team to be a cup contender. I'm not willing to burn assets just to make the playoffs and lose in round 1.
If at the deadline, they're legitimately in it, and by legitimately in it, I don't mean because of overtime losses, they could get the 8th seed. Like, they are straddling first wild card, 3rd in the division, something like that. I'd be willing to do something like acquiring Sean Walker, sort of a 28, 29-year-old. All right, he's not a 1, but he makes us better.
Right.
But like right now or in what's realistically probably going to happen, no, I'm saving my assets. All right. Next one is, overtime. Go to allphly.com to keep watching. Next one here is from Wooder Fuzz. That's good. If the defense slash explanation for sending Andrae down is that they don't think he's too small, it's that they think he isn't good, is that not worse?
Well,
They said he's good.
Yeah, they said he's good. Now, they don't think he's as good as I think a lot of people online do. That's the point I was making when you made he might be the third best defenseman on the team. I think a lot of people online believe that, and I'm just saying that the Flyers don't agree with you.
I don't think they can't.
I don't think they think he's bad.
They can't possibly think any of these guys are good outside of Sanheim, York, Drysdale, and Sealer. Like, they can't think any of them are actually good.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Do they think he's better or the same? I guess we can debate that, but all right, so I guess I named 4 guys.
I think they believe Zamula, while he's not playing well right now, is a more established all-around NHL defenseman at the moment over Andrae. But I think they would agree, as they showed on Monday with Zamula not playing and Andrae did play, I think they would agree that Andre's playing better than this version of Zamula, who's playing like garbage.
No, Chris Chelios is a Hall of Famer, so he's probably better than Emil Andrae too, even though he's 102 years old.
Well, now you're completely spinning this. He obviously was better than Emil Andrae. Now he's not, because now he might not be able to skate anymore.
Zamula, before Emil Andrae developed, was better. But now Zamula stinks, and Emil Andrae can play.
Zamula's having a very bad start to the season. I would not say that Zamula was terrible all last season. He was a passable enough NHL defenseman most of last season.
I guess. Passable, sure. We can go with passable. He was in the league. From Adam S. Is Cam York running either power play? I asked that, not yet.
Sanheim was still running power play.
He'll probably get some run at some.
I'm sure he'll get a look at some point. He got a look in. It looked like he'd won the job in preseason.
It did.
Then he got hurt.
He'll
be back in, I'm sure.
Another one from Adam here asks, in your opinion, is Dvorak being played way too high up in the lineup just because they paid him a lot? Why aren't they trying to play / develop Jet?
These are 2 separate questions.
Yeah, I don't think it's the price tag. I think it's he does something that a guy that they have at center doesn't.
Yeah. They view Dvorak as a strong face-off guy, brings some size, brings some defensive acumen to the table. So they've been using him as a little bit of a balancer, putting him with Michkov. You put him with Zegras. You have him be the reliable guy who covers for the flashy skill guy. That's why he's playing high up in the lineup. Look, we talked about it this summer. He was always going to get minutes.
Yeah.
This was never
I had him in my top 6.
This is one of those, there's no way. A lot of people just don't like Christian Dvorak because there's no way the Flyers could win. If they played him at 4C, it would be, how could you spend $5 million on a 4C?
Yes.
If they play him up the lineup, is how can you use Christian Dvorak up the lineup? People just don't particularly care for Christian Dvorak.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. But the Jet part of this, he hasn't earned the coach's trust yet.
Yeah, and he's playing fine. And the thing that Tocchet keeps coming back to when Luchenko comes up is all of this special teams time is hurting him. He's not on the power play and he's not playing PK.
As of now, we thought maybe the case, they're going to find extra shifts for him on a second power play unit, late in penalty kills, things like that. That isn't something they've gone out of their way to do yet. That's not to say if he sticks around or earns a little bit more trust, they won't. But as of now, no. And why aren't they trying to develop him? This is how they're developing.
Yeah, they are developing.
They're giving him some and see how he does, and then we'll give him more if he does well with that time.
They are trying to develop him. They believe that he benefits more from getting some minutes in the NHL and practicing with the team and working, on tape with the development staff and being on site as opposed to playing in Guelph. I almost wonder if what's essentially going to happen here
They're forcing a trade.
No, I don't think that. What I'm saying is it's going to be if somebody gets hurt, he stays. If somebody doesn't get hurt, he goes back.
It looks like him and Grebby are staying in the lineup.
It does.
Okay. All right. Next one here from Mellerman. Mellerman 4. I wanted to give you a $10 super chat, but I check and you're just not tall enough. Sorry, guys. Be taller. I'm taller than yesterday because I had the sinking chair yesterday. Both you and Kelly were 3 inches bigger than me on the screen. But today I have a normal chair.
I don't know why. There's some people on social media who think they're tweaking me by saying I'm small. It's I'm not. I've never hid the fact that I'm between 5'7" and 5'8". I don't think I'm tiny, but I'm certainly not tall. I'm a small guy.
I just found it funny that it was on the tweet where all the media was in the background and they didn't know if they should pass or not. Well, an interview or something was going on. And I'm like, they're in the background, and this is a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Of course. Like, do we not know how perspective works?
And also, like, I think I walked out right after Wayne Fish, who's like 6'4".
There's some weirdly
Kevin
tall.
Kurz, who's like 6'3". Like, yeah,
There's
I'm gonna look small in comparison. And then Will James, the new guy at Philly Hockey now, who's also above 6 foot. Like, yeah, I look small in comparison.
There are some surprisingly tall people on the Flyers beat and throughout Philly media. Our Sixers crew is gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, Ryan Gilbert doesn't cover the team on a daily basis anymore in like the practice facility, but he's what, 6'11"?
He's the biggest person I've ever seen up close, I think. No one calls him RG Tree anymore. I asked him when we did our season preview. It's been like 10 years. I'm the only one that does it. Anyway, we're just BSing now.
Beautiful.
From Sherman, how many games does Andrae play where a team can pick him up off waivers?
I don't know the number of games off the top of my head.
I don't know.
Again, this is... I ask a plea here, a plea to Bill and a plea to our commenters. If you're going to ask a specific CBA question, like, you got to give it to us in advance, because I don't know this stuff off. I can look it up.
420.
I can look it up, but I believe it's somewhere in like the 30 to 35 game range in terms of NHL games he plays before he loses his waiver exemption. And if this keeps up, he might not get there by the end of the season.
Did he not play like 40 games?
He played 41 last year.
Okay.
But there's still a games limit before. It's basically amount of games or years since you signed your ELC and whatnot, and he hasn't quite reached there yet. So he's still waiver exempt, but it's running out.
Do you think that they're going to do this to like preserve? Do you think that's any part of it?
No.
Okay.
Please do not get back on the, well, the reason why they're playing Andrew McDonald is because they're trying to make him available for the expansion. No, they played Andrew McDonald because they thought he was good. It was not Galaxy Brain. It was not three-dimensional chess. I still have nightmares about that discourse.
I knew exactly where you were going as soon as you started, but I just, listen, maybe you think that's part of it.
They're sending Emil Andrae down because they don't want him in their roster right now.
Okay.
That's why.
Listen, it's worth asking. All right, next one here from R Park. Andrae plays, Flyers win. Listen, they were 0-1-1, and then he played.
I mean, that's math.
Simple math.
Yeah.
I didn't invent it.
Can't argue with it. Before we hit the next one, thank you guys. You got us a 250.
250. That's a huge number. Very much appreciated.
250 likes. Well done.
I'm so hungry. We have to get out of here. From Chase. The elevator's broken, so I can't get lunch in between shows because I'm not going down and coming back up. That's insane. Anyway. 1-1-1 to start, not bad. Charlie, it's time. Mustache Charlie and the orange and black start the early playoff push. Thanks for the show as always. We'll get him there, boys. We'll get him there. All right, from JH, send Z to Reading so he can tear up the ECHL.
Really are just straight up.
They are
done.
so down.
They are done with Zegras and Moll.
And you know what? It was a fun. I liked them a lot. It's over. All right.
I don't think the Flyers are done.
They don't. No,
it seems like the online fans.
They disagree. And they are, in fact, in charge. And you can never argue with the authority. From David Shubb, heard there's a new expansion team on the Suns. Sensamola. Dear Lord, people are just done, man.
They really
All right, and then the last one here from David. Hearing the whole stadium boo Zamula was amazing.
I'm starting to feel bad for Zamula.
This is out of hand.
Yeah, he's not that bad.
He's an undrafted guy who played a little for us. Like, good for you, Z. Like,
and I feel like he's getting blamed for the Andrae thing. Zamula's getting scratched.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter and I was like, he's still not gonna play.
Yeah, like if you want to blame somebody for this, it's probably Juleson, to a lesser extent Yinning, because if Yinning hadn't earned his way into the lineup, there would be another spot available. But Juleson's the guy.
I blame Cam York for getting hurt and providing us with hope, which is of course the worst thing you can do.
Right. Yes.
All right, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. I got the name of the show right, so we're off to a better start than yesterday. That's all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us here on the YouTube page. Hit the like button. Think about joining the supporters club as well. Follow us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill. That is Charlie. Thank you, Brenna. Till tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.